They get the shots that change the way we see our planet. To film untamed nature, some of the world's bravest cameramen and women will risk it all. They assess the danger, calculate the odds, take every precaution, and then put their lives on the line. They are the cameramen who dare. The mission: film a huge predatory whale. The risks: violent storms, savage seas, and hundreds of sharks. For cameraman Charles Maxwell, getting the shot of a lifetime becomes a fight for survival. Each June and July, along the east coast of southern Africa, one of nature's great spectacles takes place. It's called the Sardine Run. Some 10 million sardines surge up the east coast to their spawning grounds. Trapped in a narrow band of cold water, this river of fish is ambushed by thousands of marine predators, including the mysterious Brydes whale. Sometimes seen, but rarely filmed, the Brydes whale has a spectacular feeding technique. These 20-ton monsters rocket up from underneath dense balls of sardines and try to swallow the entire shoal. Underwater cameraman Charles Maxwell has dedicated the last 10 years to film this amazing behavior.
I've always been striving to get the perfect shot of a Brydes whale coming through the bait ball, and up until now I just haven't achieved that. During past sardine runs, we got quite close to them on the boat, but we found as soon as we go into the water, they just move off, even if they're feeding. After 10 years of filming, I knew it wasn't going to be easy.
The whales aren't the only predators gorging on this sardine feast. Something far more deadly shadows the enormous writhing shoals of sardines: sharks, and hundreds of them. Torrents of the ocean's top predators will surround Charles. He may face the snapping jaws and carnivorous appetites of bulls, tigers, and even the great white shark, the top 3 perpetrators of human attacks. The run is only accessible for around 30 days, and its precise location is unpredictable. So Charles uses his 20 years of underwater experience to find and film the whales before they disappear.
To find the whales, you've got to find the sardines, and the easiest way to find sardines is from the air. Once the pilot is airborne, he's scanning the sea to find any signs of be it gannets or whales or dolphins. From the air, one gets almost a Gaddis perspective. You can cover a large area, you can see the bait balls from way off, and that is the best way to find the Brydes whales.
Predatory seabirds like gannets hunt from the air. If they find gannets, then they can find the fish. Assisting Charles on the water is oceanic specialist Mark Addison.
The convergence of factors that make for a successful sardine run event are many and varied. The temperature has to be right. 17 to 20 degrees has become the accepted temperature that sardines will move into an area that you may be in. And in many cases, you may be driving over an area where the surface temperatures are warm and the sardines are sitting just below and you don't even know it. So that's when you're looking for dolphins and gannets to give away the shoals.
Charles gets the call he's been waiting for. The pilot has located dolphins about 12 miles out at sea, and they are not alone.
By the time we're ready to launch, the boat is absolutely full up with equipment, all the camera gear, diving gear, spare cylinders, and we have to race as quickly as we can to get to the action before it stops. You're hanging on for dear life as the boat is screaming along. Predators are always better trackers than humans. If they go in a specific direction, we can follow them.
The common dolphin leads the way. Armies of dolphins herd pockets of sardines away from the main shoal to form bait balls. Charles knows the Brydes whales target this concentrated mass.
We We saw in the distance dolphins jumping, and then we saw the birds diving. And once you see the birds working in a concentrated area, then you know you're in business.
The birds and dolphins are not alone. The bait ball is a dinner bell for sharks. Charles forgoes cage or chainmail as he prepares for the dive, and Mark gets him in position.
It's very important that you're not dropped in the middle of the bait ball. That's asking for trouble. Everything is a calculated risk. You clinically assess the situation and you see, is it going to be worth this amount of risk? And normally the answer is yes.
Now in position, Charles isn't only worried about attacks from below. Thousands of feeding gannets torpedo the water at over 60 miles per hour. An accidental collision could be lethal.
The first thing you really notice when you're underwater is the noise. All the plopping of the birds, it makes a huge noise. It's like little mini explosions going on.
Charles must also take care not to be engulfed by the writhing mass of fish.
The number one rule is not to get into the middle of the bait ball because the sharks are just going berserk. Now, they won't bite you on purpose, but if you're in the way, you're going to get bitten and accidents happen.
The predators are fast and furious, but the whales don't show.
The action was fantastic, but the key factor was the Brydes whales, and we just won't get them into the bait ball.
Dive after dive, Charles braves the shark-infested waters, but still no Brydes whales, and time is running out.
Following the sardine run must be one of the most frustrating events on the planet, although the most rewarding when you get it right. You could be in the water 100 times in the day. You could not get in at all.
The temperature changes in the water, the predators move off. There's always something going wrong. You're up at 4 in the morning, you're back at sunset. You become so exhausted. You can spend the whole day just chasing ghosts.
Charles's luck is about to get a whole lot worse. An enormous storm batters the coast and the chute grinds to a halt.
That storm that hit us was the worst thing that could have possibly happened. With the storm came big swells, strong winds, heavy rains, and the sardines just got broken up. The shoals are broken up.
40-mile-per-hour winds and over 20-foot waves landlocked the team for over a week.
You know the Brydes whales are out there somewhere, but there's nothing you can do about it. And eventually when the storm did calm down, we went to sea and we saw nothing. No whales, no dolphins, no birds. I had no footage. I realized that probably for another year, the shoot was over and I had no Brydes whales.
Charles writes the shoot off, but ocean expert Mark Addison heads north in the hope that the sardines regroup after the storm.
He phoned me and said, "Charles, you got to get up here, it's happening."
Mark finds the sardines, now nearly 200 miles away from the previous location. They're in an even more inaccessible and dangerous area of the wild coast.
The Transkei Wild Coast is one of the most amazing places on the planet to work. But as a skipper, it's your worst nightmare. It's never easy. It's nothing I ever take for granted. Every year, I really shiver and shake when I think about having to work on this coast. You've got to time your approach into the sea is always difficult. You've got to get through these huge waves that frequent the coast at that time of year. Of course, the risk is that the motor won't start, the boat floods, the boat flips, you lose equipment. And I don't even want to think about the risk of injury to the passengers, the cameramen and crew.
We didn't have the luxury of aerial reconnaissance. We didn't have a microlight. The sea was dead. Beautiful day, nice and calm, but we didn't see anything. Then all of a sudden, we looked ahead and we saw a lot of gannets in the sky, and we suddenly realized, at last, our luck had changed and there was a bait ball.
Charles enters the water, but within minutes notices something drastically different.
The bait ball seemed a lot smaller, and therefore the predator intensity was a lot greater. There was less fish for more predators.
Charles is now competition.
shark activity was incredibly quick, very aggressive. Then all of a sudden I realized I was in the middle of the bait ball. I was breaking my #1 rule. The sharks started actually hitting us. They were swimming into us, telling us to get out the way. One hit me in my stomach, they were hitting my camera. The focus shifted from filming to survival. As often happens, a shark came in on the camera and I pushed it away, not realizing that I actually put my hand into its mouth. I could see blood, and then I realized it was time to get out the water.
Charles considers his bloodied hand a small price to pay for the action he just filmed.
I'd got some great footage, I was really happy with it, but still no Brydes whales. And time and budget were running out, and I was really starting to get desperate. This is really what I needed to get.
Charles believes the diminishing number of sardines may work in his favor. It's concentrating the predators, so the Brydes whales have limited places to feed.
It's just another day, early launch before first light. We thought maybe this is our chance. It was another intense bait ball with all the predators just diving through the bait ball. Everything's going crazy. I backed off. I didn't want to make the same mistake I made before where I ended up in the bait ball. Everything was nice in frame. What I was really hoping is, because everything was so concentrated, that this would be my final chance at getting a Brydes whale that would actually come up through frame. When this massive Brydes whale first came into frame, I honestly don't know what I thought. It was so close, it was so big, I could actually feel the wake. It was like pushing me over.
Charles is aware not to drift into the line of fire. Being hit by this 20-ton giant traveling at 15 miles per hour could break every bone in his body.
You almost feel humbled by nature.